Josh Frydenberg, thank you so much for joining me. We had growth in the last 3 months of last year of just 0.5%, with everyone, including yourself, predicting there's a real shock to come with the coronavirus particularly, but also the fires in the next 3 or more months. How much trouble is Australia in?
Well, actually, that number for the December quarter, Andrew, of 0.5% sees the through the year growth go from 1.8% in the September quarter to 2.2% growth now. Now, that is a step up, that's an improvement. That will be better than what the market had forecast. And also, you've heard respected Deloitte's economist, Chris Richardson, say that this is a good set of numbers. So obviously we do face a number of challenges, but the Australian economy remains remarkably resilient.
It's true that the figures were better than expected, but they're still low. And you tipped in the budget that we'd have a growth rate this financial year of 2.75. Well, so far you're less than half of that with half the year gone, with the coronavirus impact still to come, plus the bushfires, of course. You're not going to make that target, are you?
Well, again, the budget numbers are updated twice a year at the mid-year economic and fiscal outlook, just prior to Christmas, and then they're updated on budget night. So that's when you'll see the next set of numbers. But these external economic shocks that we have faced, whether it's the trade tensions between China and the US and now the coronavirus, they are beyond our control, let alone the extended drought and the bushfires that we've had. But we shouldn't talk down the Australian economy, Andrew. The IMF has us growing this year and next faster than the United States, faster than Canada, Japan, Germany, France, the United Kingdom. Our employment growth in this country is at 1.9%, which is nearly double the OECD average and nearly 3 times what we inherited from the Labor Party, with unemployment today lower than it was when we came to government. So we are doing all that we can to deliver responsible economic management, to cut taxes, to create more jobs, and I think we are succeeding on that front.
No, I agree. I don't want to talk down the economy. I just want people to have a fair idea of what's ahead of them for the year ahead. We've got a big fall in investment. We've got unemployment rising. That's outside these latest figures, but unemployment has risen. But more particularly, people are feeling poorer. I see that the figures, for instance, of real disposable income per person, the last 3 months of last year, that dropped by 1.3%. What can you do to make Australians feel that they've got more money in their pocket? Are you thinking tax cuts being brought forward again or something like that?
Well, actually, when you look at household disposable income over the last 6 months of 2019, they had its best result in more than 5 years, and that was off the back of the tax cuts, which saw more than 8 million Australians get the benefit of what we passed through the Parliament. The job market has been resilient, and of course we continue to encourage more investment. The mining sector actually in these December numbers saw investment up by 5%. So yes, but again, there is
question. The mining figures, I know they went up a bit, but that's from a huge low. Non-mining investment, though, dropped, and overall private investment dropped, and people's income in their pocket in the last 3 months of last year, after your tax cuts had washed out, that dropped, and we've got worse apparently still to come. So I'm just asking, are you considering, among the measures you might take to boost a flagging economy, tax cuts being brought forward?
Well, again, I'm not in the business of ruling things in or out. Obviously, we'll be making some announcements about economic measures in response to the coronavirus. We'll be doing that well before the budget. And then, of course, in the budget, we'll have another suite of measures to strengthen the Australian economy. But I do point out to you, Andrew, in these numbers that are just out today, we're seeing net exports up, we're seeing household consumption up, and we're seeing public final demand, which is government investment in things like infrastructure and social programs, also up. That's all contributing to an economy which the International Monetary Fund said will grow faster this year than other comparable economies around the world.
Now, one group of Australians who are doing it probably tougher than most are people who are living off their savings, pensioners, etc. What are you going to do for them? Because the cuts in interest rate again will obviously cut their income if they've got money at the bank.
Well, you're absolutely right. When interest rates come down, and they are decisions for the independent Reserve Bank, but when interest rates come down, they make it tougher for depositors and they make it easier for borrowers. So we changed the deeming rates last year at a cost of about $600 million to the budget. That saw the lower level deeming rate come down to 1%, but now the cash rate is down at 0.5%. So we're going to have another look at those deeming rates, and that is part of the government's variety of issues and measures that it is considering in light of what is happening globally around the world as a result of the coronavirus.
Now, can I get the time frame here of how you're trying to react to all these fast-moving things? Is it so that in the next few weeks we're going to see a package specifically to boost the falling investment levels, something like a business investment guarantee that the business has been looking for, maybe cash injections to try to help particularly businesses struggling, maybe tourism, whatever, with the coronavirus in particular, and then decisions like potentially tax cuts left for the budget itself in May?
Well, we'll announce a series of fiscal measures that come out before the budget, which is, as you say, scheduled for May. Our goal from these suite of measures will be to keep businesses in business and Australians in jobs. This is a very difficult period for the global economy as well as the Australian economy. It comes off the back of the fires and the drought and the ongoing trade tensions, which have also been a shock to the Australian economy. But what we will not do, Andrew, is repeat the mistakes of the Rudd and Gillard governments, where they got used to cash splashes, where there was an enormous waste in government spending. And you all remember the cheques to dead people, the overpriced school halls, and the pink backs scandal. They were the mistakes of the previous Labor government. We will not make those mistakes, and we'll also seek to ensure responsible budget management, because we've worked really hard over the last 6 and a bit years to bring the budget back into balance for the first time in 11 years. We want Australia to continue to live within its means, and we want these measures to not only help these businesses get through this tough period, but on the other side to be even stronger, for the Australian economy to even be more productive after the event, because we will get through it and it will just be a matter of time.
So as I just heard you, there will be no cheques in the mail, so to speak, for taxpayers or for people on low incomes.
Well, look, I'm not going to get into specific ruling in or ruling out. What I can say is that what we are focused on is learning the lessons from and the mistakes of the past, and ensuring that this package of measures is responsible, targeted, scalable, and designed to keep businesses in business and Australians in jobs.
Josh Frydenberg, thank you so much indeed for your time.
Always good to be with you, Andrew.